Hello and welcome back to another episode of James Games. I'm your titular host, I'm James, and this is The Death and Return of Superman. On Super Nintendo, going through a bit of a superhero thing, aren't we at the moment? Well, The Death and Return of Superman, what is there to be said about this? Well, first of all, the game obviously played off the huge popularity that was the graphic novel about this very same story, the death and return of Superman, you know? So, job's a goodie, right? So what is the death and return of Superman all about? Well, I mean, you know, think about it yourselves, really, at the end of the day. It's literally about that, the death and return of Superman. Superman is killed by Doomsday, and then he comes back to life. Yeah, I haven't read the whole thing, but yeah, that's the general gist of it. There's also a very, very good independent documentary that was made about 10 years ago. I forget the name of the guy who did it, but the documentary is called "What Happened to the Death and No, it's called The Death of Superman Lives. What happened, right? Or whatever. Anyway. And this guy goes around and he interviews like major people within the industry, like who is it? Tim Burton. He spoke to. Forgot the guy's name. John Peters, is it? Something like that. He was the producer for Batman in '89. Anyway, so what we're going to do with this game today? Well, we're just going to have a bit of a play, aren't we? We're going to have a bit of fun. So, without further ado, let's get into it. Metropolis, present day. A peaceful summer evening when suddenly a complete power failure. Deep inside the Metropolis power plant, the underworlders celebrate their takeover. This looks like a job for Superman! Right, let's get into it. Level 1, Siege of the Underworlders. Chop chop, come on, let's get into it. Here we go. So, as you can imagine, the game is very much a nice, basic, nice and easy, you know, just a standard beat-em-up style game, you know? In the same style as some of our favourites like Streets of Rage, Batman Returns, and, you know, others. And this time you get to play as Superman. I mean, like, you know, certainly no complaints there. Who the hell do y'all think you are, Underworlders? Time to go over that. For sure. But yeah, I've not actually read The Death and Return of Superman. It's one of those where I've been meaning to, but just haven't got round to it. But like I said, you know, it's considered... It's the comic book series, the graphic novel series that truly did reignite interest back into Krypton's favourite son. Because, you know, in all honesty... right, gotta try and position myself. Correct. Damn it! Oh, and I got it as well. Hate these things. You know, but yeah, it's like after interest in the boy in blue with the red underpants like was slowly waning and everything going into the early 90s, they very much took a big risk, you know, and they killed Superman. You know, and they created this very interesting way on doing it. You know, it's the introduction I think it was the introduction of Doomsday as well. You know, one of Superman's greatest villains and enemies and what have you. But yeah, you know, it's just something that they decided to pull the trigger on, you know, to reignite interest. You know, so I have no idea how the story really goes. I know basically in the fight with Doomsday, it's like big, it's epic, and basically Superman sacrifices himself. You know, because he knows Doomsday will never give up, will never stop until his path of chaos and rampage, you know, comes to an end. Maybe not even then, but still. And it's just one of those where it's just like I said, you know, they pulled the trigger on a massive, massive event in comic book history. Nobody thought you could kill Superman. You know, it's like the clue is in the name. He is super for a reason. You know what I mean? But anyway, so then they decided to pull that off. For a moment I was like, can I walk on this? But evidently you can. Right, I'm going to keep holding that. Oh, jeez. Good. Watch out for the fallen debris. Alright, grab it so it doesn't go to waste. But yeah, you never thought now you would do it. And so, like, obviously to then play off this, you know, this comic book series popularity, reigniting all of the interest in, you know, the Son of Krypton, etc. They decided to, you know, okay, let's play off it. You know what I mean? Let's, you know, and John Peters, yeah, it is John Peters. He wanted to do like a Superman movie. He'd already done Batman, made like $1 billion out of it. You know, fair play to you, pal. So, like, he wanted to trade all of that in to then make a Superman movie. So he did. And, what was it? I'll be with you in just a sec. And the thing is, like, he originally hired Kevin Smith to write. No, he hired someone else. I can't remember the dude's name, but it's like it. Long and short of it, from my understanding, it was a terrible script. Just didn't work in the slightest. Oh, you cheeky melon! You know, it just didn't work and everything like that. And then Kevin Smith was asked to go into a meeting with John Peters because, you know, John had noticed his work on like Clerks, Mallrats, etc. At that point, Chasing Amy hadn't been made yet, and he was interested in working with him. But it was originally supposed to be on Beetlejuice, what was going to be the original Beetlejuice 2. You know, Beetlejuice Goes White. Oh, you cheeky motherfucker. Who the hell do you think you are? But yeah, it was originally supposed to be for that. And then, during talks and conversation, apparently, Kevin found out that, yeah, you know, he was going to be working on Superman, and Kevin Smith, a notoriously massive, level complete, massive comic book nerd, was like, oh my god, I want in. Newsflash! A being of unknown origin is heading for Metropolis, destroying everything in its path. Not even the Justice League can stop it. This must be the introduction of Doomsday. Yeah, Doomsday is here. Wow, that's an interesting design. Is that seriously? Is that the original design? Only Superman can save us now. So yeah, like, Kevin Smith gets wind of it, super interested, wants to work on it. Level 2, Doomsday in Metropolis. So he wrote this. He knew he was never in it for the long haul. So he decided to write what was effectively the biggest, like, fan flick you could ever imagine. You know what I mean? Jesus Christ. You know, it was fan service up the butt. Let's just put it that way. And yeah, so, what the hell? Oh, okay, thank God. So yeah, he wrote this fan service flick and what have you. To appease his own, like, you know, nerddom and what have you, if you will. Decided to do that. And the thing is, originally it was something that was going to get made, you know. John liked the scripts, he asked for a few things, like one thing he notoriously asked for was Superman to fight a giant spider. But also he didn't want Superman to like fly, which is absolutely absurd when you think about the Fuck you, buddy. Totally smacking you up. But yeah, it's like the concept of Superman not flying is dumb. And he didn't want him to be in his original outfit. You know, the iconic red and blue. It's like, are you mad, bro? Do you have a clue what you're doing? Anyway. So then, you know, Kevin like goes off, writes the script, and yeah, you know, sticks with, you know, follows the notes and what have you that John Peters gave him. Wait, hold on. What am I supposed to do? Boom. Right. Just wasted that. Boom. Ah, I see. So yeah, you know. Packs out those, you know, things that Peters wanted, and then went it, and it was going to go into production. So who was directed to make the movie? None other than Tim Burton. Ah, okay, this is the Doomsday that I know. Oh, damn, Doomsday. Is he going to mess me up before I even get the chance to mess him up? Right, whoosh, boom! Take him down, sucker. You're not going to be destroying Metropolis anytime soon. I'll be back for you. I'll be back. So yeah, and then Burton reads the script, doesn't really like it, and decides I don't want to make that movie. So then several rewrites with Dan Gilroy, Wesley Struck, I think it's Wesley Struck, and a few others, and the movie was very close, was actually in pre-production. They had done costume tests with Nick Cage in the suit, because yes, Nicolas Cage was originally going to be Superman, because if you remember seeing Nicolas Cage in the suit back in, what was it, with the Flash movie, that is a cheeky laugh / homage to the failed Superman Lives, Death and Return of Superman movie. Because yes, Nicolas Cage was supposed to be Superman. What a weird world we live in. So yeah, you know, like I said, they did costume tests, they did storyboards, they did, what was it? Certain people had been hired, like I said, Nicolas Cage had been hired to... Nicolas Cage had been... I'm probably going to die in a second now. There we go. Right. So is this game over? Oh no, there's a continue. Yeah, I'll give it one last shot. If I have to start at the beginning level, I'm not going to be happy. Alright, Doomsday Metropolis, let's go. So yeah, like, there was a few hires that had already been put in place and others in talks. Or, you know, rumoured. So like I said, Nick Cage was on board. Nicolas Cage was on board as Superman. Costume tests had been done. There's infamous shots of him wearing a suit even years before, you know, in that cheeky moment in the Flash movie in 2023. Then, allegedly, according to Kevin Smith, whilst he was location scouting for what was it? It was Dogma. He was doing some location scouting in Philly, in Pittsburgh. It was one of the two. I hate this geezer with the fucking chainsaw. I hate them. I hate these people. These people do my bloody head in there. Yeah, so it was either in Philly or Pittsburgh, one of the two. Kevin Smith had run into Chris... No, he... What in the cotton picking? Ugh. Boom. Don't worry, I can take Doomsday on without, this special attack. So yeah, parts of Pittsburgh or Philly, whichever one, had already been picked out. One of them, was going to be like the, headquarters for Lex Luthor and LexCorp. Don't know what building, so I can't tell you. But, moving on from that, whilst working on Dogma, I think, Kevin Smith... Oh my god, 3 of them! Boom! Eat shit! Yeah, Kevin Smith was talking to Chris Rock. Yeah, Kevin Smith was talking to, Chris Rock. And he came into work one day, apparently, and he was like, guess who's playing Jimmy Olsen? Yep, apparently, Chris Rock was going to be Jimmy Olsen. Which is interesting, to say the least. Would have been fun. I think it would have worked to some level. So those were 2 that was practically in the bag. Others rumoured was that they were going to have... Who was they going to have as Lex? I can't remember who they were going to have as Lex. I know for... Because... Who is it? What's his name? Ave! Kicked your ass a lot easier first time around, you clown. Brainiac, that's it. For Brainiac, they were going to have Christopher Walken. Lois Lane was going to be Courtney Cox. Well, they were rumours, anyway. Few other, interesting, oh yeah, maybe we can get them, etc., in the whole deal. But whether there was any more talks, I don't know. But yeah, Superman lives. It's one of those great mysteries of life. It's like some of those great what could have beens. Could the movie have worked? And the thing is, at one point, for the movie being released, you know what? This is one thing that actually angers me about this at the moment. It's like, when there's 2 of them stacked one on top of each other, right? I'm punching away, and it's not doing anything to at least one of them. You're literally just hitting the one. It's like, well, in every other beat 'em up that I've ever played, it's not just you hit one, you hit them all. Oh, that barely hit me. Anyway, it's one of them great what ifs, and the thing is, it's like, whilst it was still slated, I think it was for either a 98 or 99 release, there was talks of the budget ballooning to as high as something like $250 million, which for that time would have placed it as possibly the most expensive movie of all time. And then you adjust that to, oh my god, you people, can't I just fight Doomsday, please? Totes it, yeah. You know what? If I die here, then I'm just calling it a day. You know, but yeah, adjust the $200 million to, you know, modern inflation, and jeez Louise. I mean, think about it. It would have been, so it could have been either, I mean, it's an already it's an intriguing piece, and the thing is, the only reason it really got cancelled was because Warner Brothers were having, you know, basically box office bomb after box office bomb after box office bomb. They just weren't making good movies, you know. And some people could also say, like, okay, you know, one movie you gotta attribute that to would have to be Batman and Robin, because, you know, the movie notoriously bombed, the critical reception was bloody horrible, etc, etc. You guys can go eat a bag of penises. Can I just fight Doomsday again, please? Here we go. Is this Doomsday again? Boom. What, mate? Oh, what? No fucking way. Well, I'm dead. Right, I'm not going through that again. You know what? That was a bit more frustrating than what I had anticipated, but hey, at least I got to talk about the the movie that was going to be based on the Death and Return of Superman. You know, it's one of them urban kind of like legends and what have you. It's not like myth, it is a legend as to what could have been with Superman and the Superman movie franchise. You know, it was supposed to be something that could have given a nice, wonderful rebirth, but also at the same time could have absolutely savagely destroyed it, and then we would have had to have waited regardless for Superman Returns in 2006, which I still maintain is an alright movie. You know, it's an alright movie. Is it the best Superman movie ever? No. That goes down to Richard Donner's original. That was just fantastic, you know. But, you know, a lot of people give Brandon Routh and Superman Returns a load of shit for it. It's like, okay, it's not exactly, like I said, the best, but come on. It's better than Superman 3. It's better than Superman 4. Maybe Man of Steel tops it, purely for action spectacle. But who knows at the end of the day. But yeah, I got to talk about the Death and Return Superman movie. You know, Superman Lives, whatever you want to call it. And yeah, that brings me to the end of this episode of James Games. So thank you very much for joining me. And as always, if you've enjoyed it, give it a like, share the video as well. More shares, more views, more views. The more that the channel continues to grow, the more that I get to do this for you. Subscribe to L-1 Entertainment if this is your first time on the channel. Don't forget to check out all of the other content that's currently available, because you never know, there might be something that you like. If you do subscribe, hit that notification bell so you are notified about any and all content that goes live onto the channel. You know, join us next time, you know, for some more gaming action here on James Games. So thank you very much. So yeah, join us next time for some more fun, some more games. Take it easy, everyone.